Hi friends, welcome to your yoga class. My name is Maria and today I have a balancing yoga flow for you. I've done a few of these in the past, but this one's a little different because I will be giving out my 4 tips for better balance. All you're going to need today is a mat, a place to practice, or maybe a large towel, and then if you have blocks, feel free to bring them along. They're going to be very helpful for this. If not, feel free to use a stack of books, an old box, a water bottle, or maybe even just be near the wall. That's a great option too. We're gonna go ahead and get started. So meet me on your mat whenever you're ready. We are going to start off in a child's pose. We're gonna come into a wide-legged child's pose. So try to bring your knees out as far as the mat and have the toes come in. So you're kind of making a V shape with your thighs and the top of your legs. And then slowly start to sink your hips towards your heels. If you have blocks, feel free to bring them along and maybe sit on them if your hips don't touch your heels, and start to walk your hands forward towards the front of the mat. Option to have your forehead resting on the earth. Before we start, just take a little bit of time here, a moment to tune into yourself, to focus on your breathing. Notice if your breaths are long or short, if they are shallow or deep. And notice where your breath is going inside of your body first. And then as you exhale, where is the breath traveling from? Slowly start to deepen your breath with this natural awareness, maybe starting to fill up the lower belly, the side ribs, the chest. And then as you exhale, try to relax your heart space a little closer towards the earth. Maybe starting to open up a little bit more through the shoulders and chest. Take 2 more big breaths. On your next inhale, very slowly start to lift your head up just gently and softly, and then start to walk your hands back towards your knees, lift your hips off of your heels, and come into a tabletop position. We're going to try to keep that breath awareness throughout the entire flow. So anytime you come away or you're feeling a little challenged, just remember to come back to your breath, slow it down, and take deep, meaningful breaths. So once you're in tabletop position, stack your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. You can have your toes tucked under if you'd like. Slight bend in the elbows so that you're not hyperextending them if you're a hyperextender like me. And then we're going to start with 1 big breath in through the nose, big breath out through the nose. On your next inhale, start to drop your ribs towards the earth, tilt the tailbone up, and maybe gaze forward. We're going to stay here for just a moment. Try to pull the shoulder tips away from the ears and take another big inhale. And then when you're ready, whenever your next exhale is, start to tuck your chin, round through the upper back, tuck your tailbone, cat pose. Big inhale to drop the belly, lift the gaze. And exhale for cat pose, round through. Inhale, cow pose, drop the belly, lift the chest. Try to pull the chest up and through the arms. And then as you exhale, tuck the chin, try to pull the belly button up towards the spine as much as you can to let go of all the air. 2 more times, moving with your own breath. Inhales to bring you down, exhales to round through. 1 more time. Beautiful. And now come to a neutral tabletop position. Feel free to come off of your hands for just a moment if you need to circle them around. I know being on the wrist isn't the most fun time or place. I also have a wrist video that you can try either before this or even take a break and go to that if you'd like. But then we're going to return to a tabletop position. From here, step your left foot straight out, off of your mat, off of the towel, straight out to the left side. Option to press that left foot into the earth or to come on the inside edge of that left foot if that feels a little bit better. So try them both out, see which one works. And then once you're there, we're going to once again start to drop the ribs, lift the chest up and through the arms and lift the gaze, cow pose. As we exhale, we're going to round through. Tuck the chin. Inhale to lift the head, lift the gaze, drop the ribs towards the earth. And exhale to round through. 2 more times, moving with your own breath, so following your inhales and exhales. And this one might feel a little bit different. You might feel stretches or different sensations than you did before, and just notice them. There's nothing we need to do about them. Just notice. Okay, and then when you're ready, step that left foot back in. Once again, take a break off of the wrists. If they hurt, feel free to roll them around. And then whenever you're ready, we can meet back in tabletop position. This time, step the right foot out, and we're gonna do the same thing. Once again, option to come onto the sole of the foot or to the inner edge of that right foot. And start to drop your belly once again. Big inhale to fill up the entire torso. And as you exhale, round the upper back, round the chin, tailbone aims down. Inhale to drop the belly, drop the ribs, lift the chest up and through. And exhale to round through. And move 2 more times just like that, following your own breath on your own pace. And then step that right foot back in. Last time we're going to be on our hands for a little bit, so feel free to roll those wrists out again. And meet me in a tabletop position once you're ready. Start to lift that left arm up towards the sky. If it feels a little bit better, bring your knees out a little bit wider than just directly under your hips. And try to get that left shoulder stacked over that right shoulder as best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just that motion of opening up the chest and shoulders towards that left side. Reach your left fingertips up towards the sky. Take a big inhale in. And as you exhale, thread that left arm underneath the right and start to bring your left shoulder, your left ear towards the ground. A couple of options here. You can stay here. Option 1 is to bring your fingertips towards the front of the mat. Another option is opposite corner of the mat, a little bit of a different stretch. And then third is to bring that right arm, wrap it back behind your lower back and bind and come into a gentle bind. Maybe the fingertips wrap around that left thigh. Keep breathing here. We're going to stay here for 3 breaths. Whatever variation you like, feel free to stay with that one. And once again, we'll tune into the breath. Big intentional inhales. Big exhales, letting go of all the air. One more big breath in. Big breath out. And then slowly, very slowly, bring that right hand in front of the face again. We're going to push off with that right hand, unthread, and return to a tabletop position. This time, start to lift your right arm up towards the sky. Try to stack that right shoulder over the left. Right fingertips reach up, up, up. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, thread that right arm underneath the left. Right ear comes to the ground. Feel free to play around with those few options we had before. Fingertips to the front. Fingertips to the opposite corner. Fingertips can even stay in front of your face, or the last one is wrap it around your low back. And then try to connect with your breath here. Once again, feel free to close the eyes. One more big breath in. Big breath out. Beautiful. Now bring that left hand, left arm in front of your face. And then we're going to push off with that left hand to unthread the needle and come back to a tabletop position. From here, we can cross the ankles behind us and then start to crawl the hands back, and we're going to roll over or back into a seated position. I'm going to bring our arms out into a T, flip the palms to face up towards the sky, and then reach the arms all the way up towards the sky. Stretch your torso as much as you can here. Try to reach your arms up, 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 up high as your sitting bones are grounding into the earth. And then as you exhale, flip the palms down and slowly start to bring your arms down by your sides. One more time, flip the hands towards the sky, palms up, and then reach your arms up. Option to gaze up. On your next exhale, come down. Imagine that you're moving through water. All right, bring your arms out into a T again, and we're gonna stop halfway here. This time, hug with your right arm crossing on top. Give yourself a big hug. Just try to grab opposite shoulder blades. And then from here, we're gonna start to lift the elbows up very gently. Maybe take your gaze up a little. Big inhale. Exhale to tuck your chin to your chest. Bring your elbow tips down towards your belly button. And then as you inhale, lift up again. So we're coming into a variation of cat-cow. And then as you exhale, round through. Elbows touch towards the belly button. Inhale, elbows lift up. One more time, and exhale, elbows towards the belly button. Inhale to bring your elbows back up to neutral. Unravel your arms back into a T, and then cross the left arm on top. Give yourself a big hug. On your next inhale, we're going to lift the elbows up. And exhale, elbows towards the belly button. Inhale, elbows up. Exhale, elbows towards the belly button. 2 more times. Inhale, elbows up. Exhale, elbows towards the belly button. Last one. Inhale, elbows up. Exhale, tuck everything round. On your next inhale, bring your elbows back up to the middle, and then come out into a T and relax your arms down by your sides. Extend your right leg out towards the front. Bring your left sole of the foot to touch the inside of that right thigh. We're coming into a seated tree pose. Feel free to bend that right knee as much as you need to. Lift the arms up, fingertips reach up, and take a big inhale in through the nose. As you exhale, turn towards your left, so towards that bent knee, and then place your right hand on the left knee, left hand back behind you. So we're coming opposite hand to knee, coming into a gentle twist here. It's okay if your right knee splays out a little, if your bottom half moves as you're twisting. Just notice these little movements, these sensations, these areas where you're tight. Take one more big inhale here. Big exhale. On your next inhale, lift your arms back up towards the sky and turn your torso towards center. Relax your arms down by your sides. Switch the feet. So right sole of the foot comes in, left foot comes straight out. Big inhale to reach the fingertips up to the sky. And as we exhale, twist towards the right side. Left hand touches right knee, right hand comes back behind. If you have your blocks here and your hands aren't reaching, they don't have to reach the ground. Feel free to bring a block back behind you if that helps. Once again, they can float or fingertips can come to the ground. One more big inhale, big exhale. On your next inhale, slowly reach your arms up towards the sky and then relax them down by your hands. Bring both soles of the feet in, coming into Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. Feel free to move your feet far up ahead or closer to your pelvis, depending on what your needs are, what sensations your body feels, and how you want to feel today. Sit up tall, lift the chest, and relax the shoulders down away from the ears. Try to stack your heart space over top of your pelvis, and then your head over top of your heart space. One long line of energy from the tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head. Stay here for one more big inhale. Big exhale. And then lift your arms. We're going to reach up one more time. Big inhale. As you exhale, twist towards the left. Opposite hand to opposite knee. And then left hand comes back behind. If you need to raise the floor up, feel free to grab that block. On your next inhale, slowly lift up. Exhale, twist towards the right. Left hand to right knee. And then lift your arms up, twist towards center. This time we're going to do it a little bit differently, but still twist towards the left side, opposite hand to opposite knee. This stays the same. Option to gaze back past your left shoulder. And then this time, instead of lifting the arms up, we're actually going to take the back hand, the left hand, and bring it up and over to touch maybe the right knee. If you need to pull your knees in together a little bit more, that's fine. But start to round through, tuck your chin, round through the upper back just a little bit. And then let go of that right hand, lift it and bring it back. We're coming to find a twist on the other side. And then once again, bring that arm forward to cross over the front. Maybe grab onto that knee. If you'd like, you can also grab onto your shins, just wherever is accessible. And then lift the left arm, bring it back, find your gentle twist to the left. And then last one, we're going to cross over, grab that knee, grab that shin, whatever is accessible. Lift the right arm, bring it back, option and gaze past that back right shoulder. And then bring that right arm to cross, grab onto the shins, tuck the chin, and try to feel your shoulder blades separating as much as they can on this last one. Now return your spine to neutral, lift your chest just gently, hands to the outsides of the knees, and slowly bring them up towards the ceiling. We're going to let the knees fall off to one side and just come into a tabletop position once again. Balancing poses are coming. We're just getting a little bit warmed up. Tuck the back toes under, lift the knees just for a second, take a big breath in, and then as you exhale, slowly lift the hips up high, start to straighten out through the knees, but the knees can remain bent here. Heels can be lifted. Feel free to gaze up at the screen to see what I mean by that. And then try to snuggle your ears in between your arms so that if you shake your head yes and no, you can kind of feel your arms maybe surrounding your ears or your face. And then gaze towards the earth. Take a big breath in, big breath out. Start to pedal out the feet, so bending one knee and then the other, just getting a little bit of a stretch through the back of the legs, a little bit of movement. And then return to stillness. Shift those hips back and up. Another big inhale in, big exhale out. Option to tiptoe your feet or to step up to meet the backs of your hands on your mat for a forward fold. If you have your blocks here, option to grab them and place and rest your hands on here if that feels good, if you need the floor a little bit higher. Bend your knees here as much as you need to so that your lower belly rests nice and gently on top of your thighs, so that your ribs are connected to your thighs. And then slowly allow the crown of the head to relax towards the earth. Slide your hands up to your shins or your thighs and lift your torso up just halfway. Take a big inhale in, tuck the chin, and then as you exhale, fold over your hips over the legs again, forward fold. One more time. Option to bring your hands onto the block, this time for half lift. And as you exhale, fold back over. Bend your knees really deeply, and then start to slowly roll your torso up to stand, coming into mountain pose. Slight bend in the knees once you get up to mountain pose. Palms of the hands flip forward, and then try to relax your shoulder tips away from your ears. We'll pause for a moment, reconnect with the breath. Notice if your breathing is a little more hurried or a little slower than it usually is. There's nothing you need to change. We're only observing. And then start to lift your arms up towards the sky. Take a big inhale in, reach and stretch the fingertips up. And then as you exhale, palms come down to your sides. One more time, big inhale in, reach the arms up. And then this time, as you start to exhale, bring your arms to your sides to come to your thighs and fold over your legs, just coming to that half lift. Stay here. And then on your next exhale, slowly roll your body down, bending over your hips, returning to forward fold. This time, maybe bring your feet in a little bit closer than they usually are. Maybe bring your toes to touch and your heels slightly apart. Or your feet can be right next to each other, side by side. On your next inhale, you're going to bend your knees really deeply. Pretend that you're starting to sit into an imaginary chair. Start to lift your arms up and then pull your abs and your torso away from your thighs, but keep that seat in your bottom half. We're going to come into a chair pose. Option to lift the arms up towards the sky. Big inhale. Big exhale, bring your palms to touch, and then bring your arms down to your chest, to your heart space, Anjali Mudra. From here, if you have a block, leave it here out in front. If you don't, feel free to grab a wall, grab a water bottle. What we're going to do is we're going to put all of our weight into the left foot and then just balance on that left foot, lift the right one just a little bit, and then we're going to put the right foot down. Same thing with the left one, lift the left foot just very gently, and then bring it back down. Option to hold on to your block here while you're doing this. We're just going to do one more on each side, gently lift the right foot up and place it back down, all while staying in this chair pose. Lift the left foot up and place it back down. All right, bring your arms up towards the sky, coming into the original chair pose we did. Big inhale. Exhale, option to float your arms down and back for airplane arms. Palms face down. Try to squeeze your shoulder blades together back behind you. Big inhale in. Big exhale out. From here, grab onto your mat or keep your hands behind you if you want a little bit of a challenge here. Start to put your weight into that left foot and very gently lift the right foot, but this time we're going to lift the heel back and up. So grabbing onto that block out in front of you, try to put a little bit of weight more into your feet than into your hands, but that doesn't happen all at once. It's a process. So just focus, and then anytime you fall, embrace that, take it as a learning opportunity, a place to celebrate small wins, small changes, small growth. And then gently place that right foot back down onto the ground, coming into chair pose once again. Feel free to come out of this chair pose at any moment if it's getting a little bit too intense. We're gonna, whenever you're ready, meet us back in that chair pose, bring the hands onto the blocks or keep them floating back, airplane arms. Very slowly lift the left foot, bring the left heel up and back. And then this time, maybe find a point on the ground as you're staring at the floor. Focus on a single point. This is called a drishti point, a point of focus. And when we bring our mind to a single point and bring our eye focus onto that single point, it does help with balance. So notice if you're trying to look all around the floor versus when you switch your gaze to that one single point and then step that left foot back down. Start to straighten up through the legs, roll your body up, mountain pose. Shake it all out. So tip number one, if you didn't notice there, was where the eyes are gazing. Circle the arms out, round and up, reach the arms up high, place the palms together, bring the palms down to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Big inhale in, big exhale out, relax the arms down by your sides. One more time. Big inhale in, reach the arms out. This time we're going to bring the arms out and around, bring them to the thighs, bring the torso halfway, so folding at the hips. And then as you exhale, forward fold over your legs. Slight bend in the knees. Take a couple of breaths here. And then we're going to bend the knees, returning to that chair pose. Lift the arms and lift the chest just off of your thighs. We're going to pick up the pace a little bit here. So place the hands onto that block. Lift the right heel up and back and straighten out through that left leg. Remember, keep your eyes gazed on that one point. Warrior three. And then very, very gently, we're going to step that right foot back towards the back of the mat, coming into a high lunge. Option to let go of that block, lift your arms up towards the sky. Lunge or high lunge can be a little bit of a balancing pose. So once again, focus on a drishti point, any point of focus directly in front of you. And then relax your arms down by your sides. We're going to open up the hips. So that back right foot is going to pivot, and then the heel is going to come step back. Let me move that block. So we're coming into a perpendicular, front toes are facing towards the front, back toes are facing towards the right side. Try to get your front heel to intersect with that back arch, or you can have a heel to heel alignment. Whatever that is, we're coming into warrior two. Start to bend into that left knee and bring your arms out into a T. Big inhale in. As you exhale, place your hand behind you on the back of that right thigh. Flip your front palm up and then lift that palm up and back to find reverse warrior with a gentle side stretch. Big inhale in. Big exhale, return to warrior two. Hands out into a T. Relax the shoulders down away from the ears. This time reach forward all the way until you can't reach forward anymore. Drop your left hand down, right hand up, coming into extended warrior. Option to bring your elbow and rest it onto that left thigh, and then reach forward with your right fingertips so you're finding a little bit of a deeper body stretch right here. Big inhale, big exhale, and then bring that right arm up and back, and imagine that you're pulling yourself up. We're going to pivot, so lift that back heel, pivot on that back right foot, coming into a low or high lunge again. Big inhale in, reach the arms up towards the sky. Big exhale, float your hands down to frame that left foot. Option to bring the blocks here to lift the floor up, coming into a runner's lunge, and then slowly step that left or that back foot, that back right foot towards the front. Take a big inhale, big exhale. And then we're going to start to bend the knees again. Deeply sit into that imaginary chair, and then lift your arms up for chair pose. Once again, bring that block, place it in front of you if you think you're gonna need it. Option to bring the hands back to airplane arms, or bring them onto your block. Press into that right foot, putting all your weight there, lift that left heel and bring it up and back. Straighten out through that right one, right foot, right knee. Warrior three. Focus on that drishti point on the ground, see if it helps a little bit with your balance. And then very slowly place that left foot back. Lift the arms coming into a high lunge. Take a big inhale. Big exhale, we're going to pivot on that back foot, finding warrior two. Bend into that right knee and bring your arms out into a T. Relax the shoulders down away from the ears. Then bring the left hand back to that left thigh. Flip the front palm up, reach up and back, reverse warrior. Big inhale in, big exhale, maybe you sink a little bit deeper. And then bring your hands back out into a T. This time we're gonna reach forward till you can't any longer. Drop that arm, lift the left one up, and an option to bring your elbow onto that right knee. And then start to reach your left fingertips towards the front of your mat. Big inhale, big exhale. Pretend you're lifting yourself up with that left hand, bring it back, return to warrior two. Pivot on that back foot, coming into a high lunge. Drop your hands to frame that right foot, and step your left foot forward, coming into forward fold. Shake your head yes and shake your head no to maybe release any new tension that you're finding or old tension that you have there. Bend your knees really deeply, but this time we're just going to roll all the way up to standing, coming into mountain pose. Take a big breath in, filling up your torso from the lower belly all the way up to the chest, all four sides. And then big exhale. Relax the shoulders down away from the ears. Okay, this time we're going to bring a little bit of attention and awareness to our feet. So stay where you are and just lift all 10 toes. Slowly place each toe down one at a time, placing the big toe down last. One more time, lift all 10 toes and then place them down one at a time. Spread the toes wide, and then imagine that you're sucking up the floor through the arches of the feet. If that doesn't make sense, maybe imagine that you're trying to scrunch up a towel with your toes and then lifting the arches of the feet up. Pressing down through all four sides of your feet equally, the edges of your feet, the big toe mound. And just notice how that feels. As you're activating the feet, imagine that you're trying to pull up the earth, pull up that towel, or pull up the floor with those arches. You're sucking everything up and in. And then relax your feet. Notice if that makes any difference. That's tip number 2. So if tip number 1 was drishti, finding a point to focus, tip number 2 is the sucking up with the feet, arches of the feet. We're going to do a quick little flow where we incorporate those. So that's 2 out of the 4 tips. So lift your arms up towards the sky, big inhale. Exhale to relax them down by your sides. Start to bend the knees and just sit into an imaginary pose. Your legs can be 45-degree angle, they can be a little bit deeper or a little bit higher. Just notice where your energy level is at today and go with that. Big inhale in, option to bring the arms down and back for airplane arms. And once again, option to have that block nearby, but if you want to try to challenge yourself this time, maybe have it there. Start to put all your weight into your left foot, step your right foot back and up as you're floating. Remember to find that drishti point. Maybe find that block if you need to, once again. And then this time we're going to try to focus on sucking up through that left foot. So maybe spread the toes wide, try to press into all four sides of that foot and lift up the arch. And then step that right foot back. Lift the arms up, coming into a lunge, and then pivot on that back foot, finding warrior two. Bend into that left knee, arms out into a T. Bring the back hand towards the back thigh, lift the front one up and back, reverse warrior. Return to warrior two, shift forward, drop the left hand, lift the right. Option to bring the left elbow onto the knee and then reach those fingertips forward. Big inhale. Big exhale. We're going to bring that right arm. We're going to stay here in this warrior two position. Bring your block and bring it to the inside of that left foot. Start to bend into that knee. And then this time, option to bring your arm up and back or just leave it by your sides. We're going to lift that right leg up. And then feel free to move your block a little bit forward if you need to. Your right toes, your lifted toes, are going to point towards the side. And then try to lift that leg to come equal with the hips. It can be a little lower, but try to lift it. And then option to lift the arm up brings a little bit more of a challenge. And then from here, gaze down or straight ahead, but wherever you can find that drishti point. If at any moment you need to step and come out of this, feel free. Do whatever your heart desires. We're going to stay here for one more breath. Big inhale in, big exhale out, and then plant that right foot. Returning to warrior two again. Pivot on that back foot. We're going to come into high lunge. And then this time just step your left foot forward, mountain pose. Notice how that feels within your body. We're going to do it again on the other side. Lift the arms up towards the sky. Big exhale to bring your arms down by your sides. Find a little bend in your knees, a little bend in your hips. Sit into that imaginary chair. Option to bring your arms back for airplane arms. The block is always there if you need it. Put all your weight into your right foot. Start to lift the left. Lift it up and back for warrior three. Big inhale, big exhale, step it back. High lunge. Lift the arms up towards the sky. And then we're going to pivot on that back foot, warrior two. Bend into that right knee, relax your shoulders down. Take a big breath in, big breath out, then place that left hand, back left thigh. Right arm comes up and back, reverse warrior. Feel free to sink your hips into it, bend into this a little bit more. Return to warrior two, arms out into a T. Shift forward, then drop that right arm down, left arm up. Option to bring that right hand to the right knee, and then your left fingertips reach forward. Big inhale, big exhale. And then here's where we bring the block to the inside of that right foot to start, or just in front of that right foot if that felt a little better. Start to bend into that right knee. Put most of your weight into that right foot. As you start to lift off, lift that back left foot. Toes point towards the left side. And then option to lift your left arm up. We're going to focus on those 2 points. So find a drishti point on the ground or wherever you're staring or gazing. And then tip number 2 is to spread all the toes wide. Pretend that you're sucking up the floor with your feet. If you fall, if you wobble, embrace it. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, but the fact that we can find balance again is the point. And remember that in life. Anytime things get hard or you wobble or you fall out of balance, the point is you can always find it again. And then very gently step that left foot back, finding warrior two position once again. Lift that back left heel, pivot on that back left foot, high lunge. Big inhale in, big exhale out, step that left foot forward, return to mountain pose. Relax your shoulders away from the ears. Take a moment here to tune into your breath, listen to your breath, and observe any little differences that you might be noticing with every inhale and exhale. Try to see if you can slow down your breathing. Grab your blocks. We're going to put them beside our feet. So on the outside of our feet, one on each side. Coming back into mountain pose, we're very slowly going to start to bend the knees, bend the hips, return to that chair pose. Take a big inhale in. Feel free to relax your arms down by your sides here for just a moment to start. And then start to lift that left heel. Option to maybe lift the left foot and then cross it over the right knee. And if you're here, your left foot can just tap onto that block. Feel free to change it to whatever height you need. And then feel free to just tap on and off if you want to get a little bit of practice. Start to sink your hips down a little bit lower, coming into eagle legs. Option to stay here and just work on the legs. Another option is to bring your arms out into a T, hug yourself, right arm on top. Stay here, or you can also lift your arms so the backs of the hands are touching, or wrap them around so the palms or the fronts of the hands are touching. And then throughout this, you have the option to either just work the arms, or just work the legs, or work both if you'd like. And then the trick here is find a drishti point, so that's first. Suck up through the arches of the feet, that's second. And then third, if you're losing a little bit of balance here, try to get a little bit closer to the ground. So bending more into those knees, you're lowering your center of gravity. One more big breath in. As you exhale, unravel the arms, straighten out the legs, and stand up, coming to mountain pose. Once again, feel free to come in or out of these poses as much as you'd like. You don't have to stay in them for the whole time that I'm cueing, but if you'd like to, it is an extra added challenge. Start to bend into the knees once again, bend the hips. This time lift the right foot off, cross it over the left, and then land the right toes on that block. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, remove the blocks and feel free to just float. The right toes can touch the ground, or they can wrap around your left shin. And then if you want to add the arms in, hug yourself with the left arm on top this time. Then feel free to stay here, lift so the backs of the hands are touching, or wrap around once again. And then remember the few tips that I've mentioned. Drishti point, focus point. Suck up through the arches of the left foot. And then if you're still wanting to find a little bit more balance, try to sink in to lower that gravity. One more big inhale. Big exhale, unravel the arms, undo the legs, and stand up straight for mountain pose. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. On your next big inhale, circle your arms out, around, and up. Reach your fingertips up. Exhale, fingertips come to the sides of your thighs. Bend over halfway, just at the torso. Big inhale in. And on your next exhale, start to fold over your legs, forward fold. Place your hands on the ground, step one foot back, and then the other. From here, we're going to pivot. So we're coming onto the outer edge of the right foot, inner edge, inside of that left foot, and feel free to stack your feet in front of one another. Option to start to lift that left arm up towards the sky, finding a little bit of balance, and then very slowly place it down onto the ground. Come back onto your toes. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Start to pivot your feet so you're coming to the outside of that left, inside of that right, and then option to spring your right hand up. Place it back down. Place your knees onto the ground. Allow your knees to go out to either side and your toes to come to touch back behind you. Or you can actually keep your knees together this time. Feel free to play around with both of those, see how it feels. And then start to sink your hips towards your heels. Walk your arms towards the front of the mat. And then allow your forehead to rest gently on the mat, on the ground, or allow it to float. Take the biggest breath you've taken in all day, and then let it all go, sigh it out through the mouth. One more big breath in through the nose. Big exhale to sigh it out. Slowly start to lift your forehead up and walk your hands back whenever you'd like. Feel free to stay in that child's pose for a few more minutes or however long you'd like. But that is the end of the class. So I just wanted to go over a few of the tips that I mentioned earlier just to recap everything and let you know exactly what those 4 tips are. So the first tip is find a drishti point, a point of focus. Number 2 is sucking up through the arches of the feet. Keeping those feet active really does help provide a little bit more balance and stability to our bodies because that's what we walk on. Our feet support us through everything. So very important. Number 3 is lowering your center of gravity. Get a little bit closer to the ground and you'll find a little bit more balance. And then number 4, I didn't actively mention, but I mentioned it here and there, and it's to embrace any of the wobbles that you do have. Being balanced, practicing balance flows, does not mean that you're always going to get it right. I mean, I wobbled, I fell out of it so many times. But the important thing to remember is that, like in life, whenever we fall, we find that balance again. So as long as you're able to find that balance again, as long as you're able to find at least a place of steadiness, a place where you're able to keep your breath going, there's no shame in using blocks or a wall or any of the tips that I described earlier. So feel free to use anything that you have at your disposal, anything that you want to use. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a comment, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoyed the 4 tips, feel free to leave a comment, or even if you have any other tips that you recommend. And then lastly, don't forget to subscribe to stay updated with all new free yoga classes. I'll see you next week.